You know, when the skateboard weapon class first came out in Ninjala, I thought the devs of Ninjala weren't going to be able to top it. Little did I know that in Ninjala Season 4, they would do exactly that with the introduction of the scrap katanas. But as the end of Season 4 rolled around, it was at this time I said to myself, surely, there's no way they can top those weapons. Oh, how extremely naive I was. With the introduction of the X-Treme Yo-yos in Ninjala Season 6, my expectations of what a weapon can be have been blown away. So let's dive into our next Ninjala weapon guide, the X-Treme Yo-yos. Oh, yeah, and by the way, before we get into the guide, if you guys are enjoying this content, feel free to hit that like button, as well as hitting that subscribe button, as we are trying to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And now, while we still have quite a ways to go, I believe in you all. But other than that, enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys at the end. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all the core gamers out there. CAJ Man 777 here today, once again, rocking my first anniversary Ninjala outfit to bring you the 11th installation of my Ninjala weapon guide series. And today, we're gonna get extreme with the X-Treme Yo-yos. So without further ado, let's get started. Like all my other videos in the weapon guide series, this is an in-depth discussion, analysis, and breakdown of everything the X-Treme Yo-yos have to offer. Whether you're just starting out with this weapon or want a few tips and tricks, this is the guide for you. I'll cover everything from the gum kits right down to the weapon combos themselves, but like some of my previous guides, information is of course bound to repeat, so I'll get through repeat information as quickly as possible. Please bear in mind that this guide, of course, is not the be-all, end-all guide for the X-Treme Yo-yos, because every weapon is subject to change as patches in Ninjala roll out. But we're wasting too much time kind of talking about the intro and blah blah blah. You guys get the, you guys get it. Let's get crazy with the X-Treme Yo-yos. The X-Treme Yo-yos, simply put, are heavier but harder hitting versions of the standard yo-yo kits. They offer more in terms of health and damage, all while keeping that standard yo-yo speed we've all gotten to know over Ninjala's first year. As far as the parameters go, the X-Treme Yo-yos offer a bulkier stature with a base 270 health compared to a normal yo-yo which has 255. Because of this, you're able to take one or two more hits from faster comboing weapons such as the katanas if you are playing an X-Treme Yo-yo in any regard. Combine this, of course, with the yo-yo standard move speed of 105, and you're still a pretty quick threat on the battlefield regardless. Of course, taking the parameters into consideration, if you combine this with the weapons kit and abilities, you have a very nice all-around weapon that focuses more on offensive play rather than defensive play. This is further amplified, of course, by the kits of the X-Treme Yo-yos themselves, so let's start with the X-Treme Motor and its gum kit. For the X-Treme Motor's gum shot, we have a brand new gum shot called, well, gum shot. But to avoid confusing everyone in this guide by constantly saying the word gum shot, I'm going to be referring to the X-Treme Motor's gum shot as shot gum. Because honestly, that's what it should have been called to begin with. Shot gum is a short-ranged but extremely powerful spread type gum shot. Shot gum is a gum shot that can instantly bind your opponent regardless of whether it is a mid-size or large bubble at its proper range. Getting direct hits on any opponent, of course, is the best way to instantly bind them, as not doing so and not hitting an opponent directly will not bind them often, making this a bit more of a high-skill gum shot to use. But with its short range being only about 5/6 of a training dojo box, this is an easily counterable gum shot at distance. Shot gum, however, is also very good at binding multiple people when used slightly out of its instant bind range. In a way, you could say shot gum functions much like the gum grenade, with the exception of the exploding fragments after the fact. It's a quick gum shot overall, and with a decent cooldown when used right, it can absolutely devastate your opponents, ending them before they even knew what hit them. And speaking of quick hitting things, that brings me, of course, to the gum ninjutsu, the worst nightmare. Worst nightmare is exactly what it sounds like. It is a control type ninjutsu that has you galloping on a paper mache mare, aka horse, quickly across an arena, stampeding foes as you hit them. All the while, you're dropping bombs behind you, leaving an extra deadly double whammy for your opponents. But I'll talk more about the worst nightmares bombs in a moment. For now, let's talk about the horse itself. The mare in Worst Nightmare is actually what does the maximum damage to your opponents. Opponents who make contact with this paper mache horse will take tons of damage, but of course you won't just be stopped by hitting one opponent. Much like the Ninja Tornado, you can actually hit multiple targets with this ninjutsu. Each hit of the ninjutsu itself does a nice chunk of damage to an opponent, being around 250 damage. On top of this, this ninjutsu can freely be controlled based on the direction you move or even turn the camera. But it does have one similarity to the tornado. That being the ninjutsu can't move downwards directly. Instead, Worst Nightmare, in order to force yourself to move down directly, you actually have to aim the camera downwards toward the ground to make the Worst Nightmare rise towards the ground. Of course, you can't move downwards in general with the Ninja Tornado similarity, so this gives Worst Nightmare a little bit of an edge over the Ninja Tornado. Additionally, by pressing the jump button at any point while activated onto Worst Nightmare, you can actually rise into the air and increase the hitbox height of the Worst Nightmare, catching foes off guard who might be trying to elevate themselves to escape it. You can even jump multiple times to make yourself go high into the sky and just become an aerial strike raid when it comes to the bombs. No one will be able to escape the Worst Nightmare. But wait! There's more. Remember those bombs I mentioned? Yeah. Well, you see, you drop those bombs the entire time while riding Worst Nightmare. What do the bombs do? Well, basically they're gum grenades. Once they travel a certain distance, the bombs explode into AoE fragments, and those are even able to bind opponents too, with a longer lasting gum bind than you would normally see. So not only can you get Eppones with the ninjutsus itself, but more Eppones via the bound opponents afterwards. Now, of course, you must be thinking, this sounds super broken. There's got to be a trade-off for Worst Nightmare, right? Well, unfortunately, there is. You see, while it is hard to hit you directly while on Worst Nightmare, the other ninjutsus can outright cancel Worst Nightmare, with a strange exception being the Fujiyama rocket, as you can literally ride through the explosion and not get staggered. On top of that, of course, a well-placed gum shot or attack to you prior to you getting on Nightmare itself will cancel it as well. So if you're not entirely safe while activating Worst Nightmare, there is a chance you can be knocked off it. But regardless, it is a very powerful ninjutsu and one of the most fun ones to use, I think, as of the current season. Another quick little thing to note with Worst Nightmare is that you can actually cancel Worst Nightmare while riding it by blowing up a gum bubble when it's active to, of course, take advantage of those Eppone bombs as well. But we can't stop there, because these yo-yos not only excel on their kits, but they also excel with their specials and abilities. For our special, both of the X-Treme yo-yos get a special known as Bumpy Accelerator. Bumpy Accelerator turns your X-Treme yo-yos into a rideable mono motorbike, much like the skateboards, with a few differences compared to Sweet Ride. First and foremost, I'm sure you can see already that you have a ride timer on the screen when you activate Bumpy Accelerator. This, of course, is actually how long you can ride on the Bumpy Accelerator itself. But, unlike Sweet Ride, you don't get any additional power to your attacks by jumping while in Bumpy Accelerator. Instead, for Bumpy Accelerator, you get another option, which is known as Turbo, with another press of your Y button. Of course, this Turbo does take up a slight chunk of your ride time when used, but if the Turbo connects with an opponent, you'll send them flying into the air. This Turbo attack also gets super armor when it's used, so it's best used to press fights with this or start engagements with Bumpy Accelerator. Bumpy Accelerator's Turbo hits can also not be stopped by an S-Burst, so please keep this in mind. You'll always end up doing damage to your opponent regardless of whether or not they S-Burst. Alternatively, with the Turbo, by hitting your opponent with one Turbo and then inputting a ZR attack in any direction or another Turbo, your Bumpy Accelerator follows up with a second AoE blast that not only further damages your opponent, but cancels into your next attack for free. Note, of course, that you cannot cancel Bumpy Accelerator outright once you start riding it until you finish that ride timer. So as far as Bumpy Accelerator goes, it's an extremely, see what I did there, good tool offensively, but it's also a great mobility option as well. Again, of course, much like Sweet Ride on the skateboards, your control of the bumpy accelerator is limited in terms of your turn speed and direction you can move in, but with a simple press of the dash button, much like with Sweet Ride, you can adjust the angle of your ride at any time, making it very good at not only keeping you away from things or putting yourself into a spot where, of course, you can fight. Between you and me, though, I think this is one of the best specials in the game, and you'll see why a bit later in the combos section of this video. But for now, let's further enhance our bumpy accelerator by talking about the X-Treme Yo-Yo's abilities. For our first ability, we have Adrenaline. Adrenaline is a non-big weapon specific ability that increases your attack for a few seconds after you finish using bumpy accelerator. I don't think I need to explain this one much further, but anything giving you a slight attack increase for a few seconds is an amazing ability, and it's an extremely straightforward ability. But for our second ability on the X-Treme Yo-Yos, this is where things get interesting. For the second ability, the X-Treme Yo-Yos get an ability known as Shackle. Shackle is the big weapon exclusive ability for the X-Treme Yo-Yos. Shackle reduces your opponent's movement speed and jump height for a short time after you hit them with bumpy accelerator. This ability on its own with a big weapon is very similar to the Shinobi card Gum Boost Impact with Assist Code 3, which happens to be the movement reduction assist code. It pretty much functions the exact same as well. You pop your opponent into the air or stagger them, and then they can no longer move fast or jump high due to Shackle. This ability alone allows you to keep pressure on your opponents, which may lead to an Epone or KO for you. Of course, with its Gum Kit special and abilities, altogether, I would definitely say that the X-Treme motor is easily a fantastic choice if you wanted to try out an X-Treme Yo-Yo for the first time. But what's really crazy is that we haven't even talked about the X-Treme motor sister kit, the DJ Scratch. And I think you'll find them very similar in terms of how they play, making the choice of which one you want to play a little bit harder. Of course, getting right into the sister kit, the DJ Scratch. The DJ Scratch has the newly buffed Gum Grenade as its gum shot. Gum Grenade, of course, is an arcing gum shot that has to be aimed manually at opponents. Upon making contact with a surface or opponent, the Gum Grenade will explode into multiple fragments that stay on the field, doing gum damage to your opponents for a short time. Alternatively, along with that, you can also make Gum Grenade fragment early by pressing your Gum Shot button again. However, much like Shot Gum, Gum Grenade does the most gum damage directly at its initial explosive center, so it's definitely good to practice your arcing aim with Gum Grenade. However, recently, Gum Grenade got a flight speed increase, making it now one of the faster gum shots in the game rather than one of the slowest gum shots in the game. This means you don't nearly have to aim your arc shot with Gum Grenade as high to hit faraway targets. And believe me, it is a very noticeable difference. It is a very good buff to Gum Grenade, and it absolutely needed it. But overall, I would say the gum shot for this kit wasn't the only thing that was buffed on the DJ Scratch, because the Gum Ninjutsu for the DJ Scratch also got some major buffs, which also makes DJ Scratch just entirely as powerful. For the Gum Ninjutsu, DJ Scratch fittingly got the buffed Shinobi Disco, and the new Shinobi Disco is absolutely incredible. Shinobi Disco, of course, as many know, is a trap-type AoE ninjutsu. It forces your opponents to dance uncontrollably the moment they get hit by the party lights. With the recent buffs it got as well, it is more powerful than ever before. Shinobi Disco still, of course, drains all of your opponent's S energy when they get hit by the Shinobi Disco. However, hitting people with the Disco has never been easier thanks to an increase not only in the ninjutsu speed, but its AoE expansion speed as well. On top of that, after the Disco is now over, Disco users are now granted super armor for 7 seconds to confirm their dance partner's entrapment to the Epone Shuffle. Of course, while you are super armored, you still can be gumbound out of it, so be careful after you finish rocking the turntables of the DJ Scratch. Of course, because of the new buffs, though, the DJ Scratch just becomes as formidable as the X-Treme motor overall. So ultimately, it will be up to you to decide which version of the X-Treme Yo-Yos you want to rock with. But with that being said, that's everything you actually need to know about both the X-Treme Yo-Yo kits. So in the next section, I'm going to be going to the X-Treme to show you the insane attacks and combos of these yo-yos. Before we jump straight into the combos though in this section, we're gonna talk about the basic attacks of the X-Treme Yo-yos. Unlike other yo-yo types in the game, these X-Treme Yo-yos have set animations for each of their attacks, much like the Trick Ball class, making them, of course, a bit easier to learn overall, while still providing some valuable utility for their combo structure. However, these attacks on the X-Treme Yo-yos have some of the highest knockback build-up values in the game, making learning their attacks all the more important before getting into any of the combos. So, of course, starting with our normal attacks, we have 3 separate normals. Normal 1 is a super armored charge towards your opponent. This attack actually has decent homing as well, but unfortunately the big downside of this super armored charge is it struggles when trying to connect to an opponent that is high above or below you. Due to its super armor though, it is a great starter and can rarely be cancelled by other moves. Normal 2, of course, is a follow-up on that super armor attack with a quick backflip that has you riding the X-Treme Yo-yo like a motorbike before finishing by standing on it like you were a stunt performer. As for Normal 3 is rather interesting because unlike most other normal attacks in the game, Normal 3 for these yo-yos actually acts as the finishing attack because it's a multi-hit. The first hit, of course, of Normal 3 has you quickly charge into your opponent once again with a swift kick strike, but the second hit acts as the combo finisher and it has you sliding at the feet of your opponent, knocking them away in the process. For the back attacks on the X-Treme Yo-yos, we have yet another multi-hitting move with a special property this time around. The first part of the back attack on the X-Treme Yo-yos has you rev up your yo-yo before launching it at high speed towards your opponent with a swift kick. After making contact with your opponent, the second part of the X-Treme Yo-yo's back attack explodes into a green area of effect blast, which is able to hit multiple targets and push others away. However, because the second part of the back attack functions like an AoE blast, it cannot be S-bursted or parried. This makes it an extremely good combo starter or combo finisher. Most importantly, getting hit with both parts of the X-Treme Yo-yo's back attack will reset an opponent's gum bind cooldown time, which means you could get bound multiple times after getting hit with a back attack from the X-Treme Yo-yos in just one combo. As for our wide attack, the X-Treme Yo-yos have you, well, ride the X-Treme Yo-yo in a pretty standard AoE spin that has similar range to the Scrap Katana's wide attack. It's a fantastic option to use whether you truly feel threatened, as it does move slightly forward when using the wide attack as well. Of course, as a wide attack, it also functions as an AoE, like all wide attacks in the game do. Now, while all the moves on these yo-yos are extremely threatening, having high damage, high knockback build-up, all of them, to make things even crazier, can set up for a bind combo. But there is one more attack that I need to talk about with the X-Treme Yo-yos that turns these things into absolutely disgusting monsters, and it's the break attack. The X-Treme Yo-yos break attack, I mean, this thing just breaks records. This break attack breaks the drill's record of having the longest ranging break attack in the entire game. Not only that, but you don't get put into the chase down animation the drills have when they do this break attack from long range, because this break attack already moves forward with absolutely insane tracking potential. Now let me tell you, firsthand from experience in playing these weapons and playing against these weapons have only been out for a few weeks, and I cannot tell you the number of people I've caught hitting a gum shot gum combo into their guard before binding them in their own gum from ridiculous ranges. I have literally lost count of how many people I have done it to, because the range on this thing is just gross. This break attack is just that good. But of course, while the break attack on its own is scary, it's nothing without these insane combos to back it up. So now, it's truly time to show off what the X-Treme Yo-yos can really do. Offensively, the X-Treme Yo-yos aren't slouches when it comes to combat. While you don't need every attack they have to truly maximize the damage with the X-Treme Yo-yos, using the proper routes for these combos is extremely important due to the high knockback build-up values. What's super good though about the two X-Treme Yo-yo kits is that any combo I'm about to show you in this section will work whether you are using the X-Treme motor or the DJ Scratch. So of course the one you will use is up to your personal preference. As I already said, these yo-yos do incredible damage, so to start off, we're going to be using this basic route and start a little bit easy. So, here's what the general combo route of the X-Treme yo-yos looks like. You're going to start with a normal ZR attack, following that into a wide attack, hit that ZR button 3 times for all 3 stages of your normal attack, and then finish them off with a left-right attack, specifically if they are a sound hammer. Every other weapon pretty much dies to this. As you can tell with this first combo kind of right off the bat, unlike other weapons in the game, I am not just spamming the ZR button for our basic combo, because the standard ZR route on this weapon is a bit trickier to constantly get connecting online. But by using a combination of normals with wide attacks, you're able to take advantage of the extra damage and reset your normal attack stage back to stage 1, allowing you to KO any weapon in the game with ease. Of course, as I already mentioned, with Sound Hammer users, the addition of the back attack is needed, which is enough to KO them, but it's also a pretty flashy finisher, I think, in my opinion. For the next combo, and actually the rest of the combos in this video, I'm going to be incorporating a gum shoot into them to take advantage of the high damage on the X-Treme Yo-yos. Again, either shot gum or gum grenade will work for these combos as long as they are pulled off correctly. But I cannot stress enough that pulling these combos off correctly will net you an E-pwn every time and avoid knocking your opponent away. So, for the rest of the combos, I am, of course, going to be binding my opponent, and here we are with our first one, known as Burnout. Burnout starts pretty simply, actually. You're going to start with a downward ZR, immediately into a jump cancel gum shot. Following the bind off that jump cancel gum shot, you're going to do all 3 stages of your normals, and then you are going to finish your opponent off with either another downward ZR or a left-right ZR, again, only if they are a sound hammer. Relatively simple combo, right? Wide starter. The feels pretty familiar for those of us who have played Ninjala for a long time with a little bit of a wide starter combo. But as you can see, you don't really need to do much after you bind your opponent with either the X-Treme motor or the DJ Scratch to secure the E-pwn. This, of course, as I already said, can be attributed to the high damage of these yo-yos, especially on their normal route. But what I find more interesting about this combo is that the second hit on normal 3 functions like a finisher, which of course, if you guys know anything about finishing attacks in Ninjala, they can be considered wide attacks, back attacks on the hammers, or the ends of normal strikes on faster weapons. Those finishing blows can actually break gum binds. This means that you'll have to be extra careful while dealing with sound hammers for this combo, as they will literally have one opportunity right at the end of this combo to potentially S-burst. So pay attention to whether or not your opponents burst out of this. If they don't burst, you can finish them up with a back attack or wide attack as usual. But if they do burst, get ready to break attack. Getting back on track though, we're going to be moving into our third combo now. And I'm actually going to, for this combo, I'm going to introduce something very similar to a jump cancel. And it's been in the game for just as long as a jump cancel, but I find it way more effective on the X-Treme yo-yos more than anything. You might be wondering what I'm referring to. I'm referring to a dash cancel. Similar to the jump cancel, the dash cancel has you end an animation early and set up a dash in which you can move in any direction. For the combo, for the sake of the combo route that you guys are going to see on the screen, I will be labeling the dash cancel as DC in the combo itself, so make sure you are on the lookout for that. Of course, this combo that I'm about to show you takes advantage of this dash cancel right after the X-Treme Yo-yo's back attack, and is used to set up the bind for this combo known as Rev Theory. Rev Theory is a very short, sweet, and to-the-point combo. For this combo, you are going to start off with a left-right ZR. Following that back attack, you are then going to dash cancel towards your opponent. Do not dash cancel away, do not dash cancel to the side, dash cancel and move towards your opponent. After you dash cancel towards your opponent, blow up your gum bubble and hit them with your gum shot, whether that be gum grenade or shot gum. Hit them with your full normal route and finish them off with the downward ZR or the wide attack. Now, of course, with this combo, I think it is a bit more consistent when it comes to using Gum Grenade over Shot Gum because while, of course, both gum shots need to be manually aimed to hit your opponent, missing slightly with Shot Gum could indeed cost you the bind for this combo. However, by using this combo with a big weapon and playing at the appropriate range with the back attack, you can make this combo extremely consistent with Shot Gum as well as Gum Grenade. What's super nice about this combo as well is that this combo will literally destroy any weapon in the game with less than 300 health. You won't even need to use the wide attack for any other weapon in the game. Or I should say, you shouldn't need to use the wide attack for this combo if your opponent has 300 health or less. However, if your opponent has 300 health, even if they have a slight bit of chip damage before hitting this combo, they're also just going to end up getting E-pwned anyway. The only thing the wide attack is mainly used for in this third combo is to confirm E-pwns on the hammer class of weapon. Yes, while weapons with 300 health with this combo will literally live with 1 HP at full health, just using a break attack on those weapons after the wide attack seals the deal, and if they, if they burst, they're dead. If they don't burst, they're still dead. So, once again, be mindful of that burst read, but you might not necessarily need it if you're going against anything with 300 health here, as you really don't want to lose that confirmed E-pwn. So, you're going to break attack after the wide attack no matter what, whether they live or go down. But, like my other weapon guides, usually from here I would go into a ninjutsu combo. However, I still have one more basic combo to show you before we get into the ninjutsu combo. But in order to do that, I need to activate Maximum Overdrive! Yes, that is literally the name of this combo. Yes, it is a reference, but it fits so well. This combo takes advantage of the armor provided by the Bumpy Accelerator's turbo attack to swiftly end any weapon in the game. You don't even need to worry about burst reads here. And here is the combo. You're going to start this combo by activating Bumpy Accelerator with the press of the Y button. Then you're going to press the Y button again when close enough to your opponent to hit them with the turbo. When the turbo hits them, it needs to specifically hit them. If it doesn't hit them, it will not work. On the turbo hit, you are then going to cancel that turbo hit to get the extra blast into a downward ZR. Following the Y attack, you are going to then jump cancel into a gum shot and then finish them off with the full normal attack route.
I knew I should have gotten the turbo.
He's right, you know. He really should have gotten the turbo. Because without the turbo, this combo wouldn't be able to end as fast as it does. This combo is destruction incarnate. Using the additional blast caused by Bumpy Accelerator's cancellation, you are able to, of course, activate the X-Treme Yo-yos ability, Adrenaline, which will increase your damage for the rest of the combo, allowing for a very easy jump cancel bind afterwards to net yourself the E-pwn. Following that, of course, with this combo, as you guys already saw, it only takes one full rotation of normal ZRs after the fact to E-pwn any opponent in the game. It is fast, it's effective, and it can be performed with any size weapon. As for our ninjutsu combo, we're going to be taking a very similar approach here as well. I'm going to be showing this with the wide attack, but rest assured that this does work with the double induction of turbo into this combo as well. This combo is quick and efficient and is known as the DJ Nightmare. So, to start this combo off, you're going to start with a wide attack. Following the wide attack, you are then going to go into a normal attack, jump cancel the normal attack into a gum shot, and then hit them with your ninjutsu, and then if you guys, of course, are running Shinobi Disco, finish them off from there. This also does work with double turbo, so I'm going to show you guys this really quick. As you can see, this combo does fully work with turbo as well, provided you do it right. But now for the wide attack variation of this combo, I'm going to be quiet here so you guys can actually see what I'm going for here. Yeah, as I already said, like I said, you can start this combo with a turbo setup, as I showed. But in the air, I will say the wide attack starter is much more consistent, as you cannot actually keep turbo in the air for very long. You actually have to, spend the meter to keep it up in the air for long. Of course, pulling this off correctly is always going to end up with an Ippon, so there's really not much more to talk about with this combo. However, the one thing I do want to bring up with this combo is why I threw an additional ZR into this combo, and this hit right here, it's specific for sound hammers. If you do not put that additional ZR hit in before the jump cancel bind, the sound hammer lives with 3 HP. So for consistency, it's best to practice this combo with that additional hit no matter what weapon you use it on, because you're going to get an Ippon regardless. As far as combos, though, go, that is it. I have taught you guys everything I have at least learned with the combos in the first couple weeks for this. So I hope, of course, you found this section very informative and helpful. In the next section, though, we're going to be talking about the Shinobi card recommendations and weaknesses of the X-Treme Yo-yos. So I'll meet you guys there. Of course, as we get into this section coming up, I'd like to note that my Shinobi card preferences in this section might be different compared to yours, but I find these Shinobi cards highly effective for the X-Treme Yo-yos, so feel free to try these out on your own. Immediately, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here, and the first Shinobi card we're going to talk about is Stealing Hyena, as we usually have to mention it. But it is not with the assist code you might think it is this time. As far as Stealing Hyena goes, the only assist code I recommend here is actually assist code 2, which increases the speed you move at while moving toward opponents with lower health. Not only that, but assist code 2, the movement speed assist code on Stealing Hyena, does indeed slightly affect your attack range with all weapons, which is super nice when you have a normal attack and special attack that give you super armor. Of course, all these assist codes on Stealing Hyena could be a very viable choice here, but you don't really need the additional gum damage unless you're looking for more multi-bind opportunities, because both Gum Grenade and Shot Gum can already bind outright. For my second Shinobi card recommendation, I'm gonna have y'all go with Energy Hoarder, and with this one, we're gonna be rocking assist codes number 1 and 2. Assist code 1 is pretty self-explanatory. All it does is give you health back when you pick up an S energy orb, but what it also does is decreases the time it takes to start naturally recovering health after you pick up that first energy orb and get some health back. Combine this with assist code 2, which is the movement speed assist code Energy Hoarder gets, and your overall base movement speed of the X-Treme Yo-yos, and you'll pretty much always be healthy and raring to go. By the way, I don't know if anybody knew this, but did you know that the movement speed assist code on Energy Hoarder when you pick up an S energy orb also not only affects your run speed, but your jump height? It's actually like if you were to activate Punishing Blade or Shinobi Beast and getting those additional jump height, dash distance bonuses that those ninjutsus get. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to save a jump for a jump or a dash cancel in a combo when you really need it. I think it's a super good option, especially for these weapons having so many great binding opportunities. As for our third Shinobi card, we're going to go with the brand new card that was just added into Season 6, known as Last Spurt. Last Spurt is insane. For the last 60 seconds of a match, without any assist codes, you get infinite S energy, with the exception of being hit with a Shinobi Disco, a Gum Ghost, a Gum Searcher, or, of course, an S Burst, as you will still consume or lose energy if you get hit with any of those. With this card, like I said, you have infinite S energy for the last 60 seconds of a match. It is the ultimate comeback card and is a must-have for any X-Treme Yo-yo build. You'll be able to constantly move around with this, making use of your insane damage in the process with the X-Treme Yo-yos. As far as the assist codes go for Last Spurt, if you can fit them all on, go for it. They're all really good, from activating Last Spurt early to lowering your Gum Shoot cooldown time, while all the codes honestly are just really good. Personally, I use the second assist code, which decreases the time it takes to start recovering health in that last 60 seconds, because you really don't want to be smacked into a wall for an Epone or KO'd too many times, if at all, in the last 60 seconds, and it stacks super nicely with my Energy Hoarder health code. So those are just kind of my recommendations as we go for that. But as far as recommendations go, that's all I have for really the Shinobi card recommendations. So let's talk about a potential weakness of the X-Treme Yo-yos. The really, really big one I want to mention is a possible over-reliance on super armor moves that the X-Treme Yo-yos get, which can be found, of course, on your combo starter, normal 1, and the turbo. While super armor isn't necessarily a problem on the turbo, especially if you hit something, it can be a big problem on normal attack 1. As I already mentioned in the last section, while normal 1 does give super armor, as far as its tracking, it has a big problem in being able to rise or fall quickly. Getting too eager to hit someone with a normal 1 by spamming ZR to start a combo could result in you getting gumbound if your opponent is aware of the X-Treme Yo-yo's normal 1 tracking. And because super armor doesn't stop you from getting gumbound, you're not entirely safe when using normal 1 or entirely the turbo either. And because I said that, now everybody knows about it, so everyone is going to have to be careful about using normal 1 and the turbo from Bumpy Accelerator and on the X-Treme Yo-yos. Other than that, I would say a minor weakness is this weapon is not being able to finish off full health opponents if they have 100% health when you initially bind them. While comboing a full health opponent, just be aware that the moment the bind breaks or you break your opponent's bind, if you have them bound, they can burst. So you just have to be ready for that at all times. It keeps you on your toes with this weapon, but because of this weapon's damage output, people might panic, so you might see a lot of those bursts. So you just have to be ready and make sure you break attack when you see a burst come out. Aside from that, though, there's really not much to say. The X-Treme Yo-yos overall are an extremely balanced weapon type that can work in a variety of situations. Whether that be in team battles or battle royale or even in a tournament setting, you really can't go wrong with the X-Treme Yo-yos. And that's it. I hope you all found this video informative and helpful in trying to learn the X-Treme Yo-yos. If you did, of course, enjoy what you just watched, do me a favor and hit that like button as well as hitting that subscribe button to help this channel reach its goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. By doing so, of course, you'll not only get to see more content like this, but you'll get to see my other awesome content as well. As always, let me know what your favorite part of the video was down below, as well as mentioning anything I might have missed in this guide, because I'm sure I missed something. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until then, this is CAJman777 signing off. Stay safe, everybody.